Hi there, welcome to this session on relational operators and if statement. We had seen in the last session about arithmetic operations. So, before we proceed to relational operations, we will take a brief look at the if statement. So, why do we need if statements? At many points in your shell scripting, when I want to do a bunch of operations, I might have to take a decision. So, I have to take a decision on whether to go in one path or in another path. This is a part of structured programming, and in this kind of structured programming where structured design, I will always come to a node where I have to make a choice between whether I should take a decision based on a certain condition. So, this if, then, else and feast together helps you move from one path to another path. Usually the conditions will be either equal to or not equal to. So, equal to is represented by double equal to, and not equal to is represented by not equal to. Let us see this with an example. So, what we have is a example something like this. So, I have two variables, A which is assigned a value of 10 in line 3 of this program, and then B which has a value of 20 that is assigned in line 4 of this program. So, what I want to do right now is I want to see whether the value of A is equal to value of B. Obviously it is not equal, and therefore what I do is I write a syntax like this. I put a if statement, then I leave a space, then I start a square brace, then leave a space, I give the variable name, again leave the space, then put the 2 equal to sign, again leave the space, then I put the $B, the value of B, and then I leave a space, and then finally I close this. Now, every space that I dictated is important. Even if you miss one value, the shell will say it is an error. So, let us try to see whether the shell shows an error. So, let us assume that I do not put it like this. Now, if you look at this, since I am using a good editor, it tells you immediately that there is an error. Anyway, let us not bother about it, let us try to run this program. So, it immediately says in line number 5 there is an error, command not found. So, you have to be extremely careful when you type these kind of programs in shell. So, let us return back. So, in this case what I do is I compare these two values. Now, the if statements works in such a way that if this result of this turns out to be true, okay, then the statements following then up to else is executed. See, here I have written only one statement, but you can have many statements written here. So, in this case for example, if I give a value of 10 for A and 10 for B, then this statement, this becomes true, this condition becomes true, and once this condition becomes true, then this part of the shell script will be executed. If suppose the condition becomes false, as in this case, for example, here I have 10 and 10 is definitely not equal to 20, then the else part of the code is executed. Remember that when the then part of the code is executed, finally the code skips the else part and then comes to the statement after this phi. So, this is a marker, okay. This whole thing forms a line or a sentence, but let us not get into those details. So, what happens is that, so if you take this program as such, the first statement that will get printed is this, that 10 is not equal to 20. Now, what we do is now we try to make B also equal to 10. So, in this case, and then repeat the same program, and as discussed before, this will print A is equal to B. So, let us see whether whatever we had seen is getting printed here. So, what we do is I run this program. So, it definitely prints 10 is not equal to 20 and 10 is equal to 10, and we can also see this with the debug mode, and in the debug mode we will see this in the debug mode, okay. So, in the debug mode if you see, first it assigns a value of 10 to A, it assigns a value of 20 to B, then it compares A with B and it finds out that the result is not equal, I mean this 10 is not equal to 20, therefore the else part is executed and it prints 10 is not equal to 20. Now assign a B to be value of 10, now if you look at this 10 is equal to 10, therefore we print 10 is equal to 10. So, this is the syntax for if statement. I am just introducing this if statement now to tell you the number of possibilities using this, what are all the things we can do. For example, when in the previous code, let us say we have a let us say I just type this. So, let us say I have a variable like this, A is equal to 5 and then I want to say C is equal to say expression of $A divided by let us say $B, okay, and let us assume that $B, so B is given a value of 0. Now, in this case the arithmetic operation itself will give, if I divide A by B, since B is 0 it will give an error, okay, which you do not want to happen, I mean sorry here. So, if A by B, if B is 0, $B is 0, then it will give an error. So, what you could do is you could actually check by putting a condition like this, if $B equal to say something like 0, then I can say print something like this, echo the divisor is 0, else we can go ahead and divide. So, such logic can be implemented in the code. So, that is the reason we saw why we have to use the if statements. Now, let us come to the relational operators. Okay. A relational operator gives a relationship between two quantities. What we can do is we can mix and match the relation operators along with the if statement. So, that is one of the reasons we introduced the if statements before. So, when we have two quantities, then mathematically you can either have say two numeric quantities, then they can either be less than, one can be less than the other, one can be equal to the other, one can not be equal to the other, one can be greater than the other, etc. Now, in shell the numerals and strings are not handled in the same fashion, okay. Therefore, what we will be seeing in shell is, for numerals we will be using these symbols minus ne, minus equal to, minus gt, minus lt, minus ge, minus le, which represents not equal to, greater than or less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. So, when you are doing numeric comparisons, you are supposed to use these symbols. This is slightly odd, okay, because in general we will be using the keyboard values of less than, greater than and all that. So, for those people who have done other programming languages, this will look slightly odd, but that is the way the shell is. So, let us try to identify how to do this. So, we will look at numeric relation.sh. So, this is a slightly complicated program where we try to explain all the quantities. So, let us start from line number 3. So, we are comparing, our idea is to compare two quantities. So, we are taking up quantity 1 which is a value of 1000 and quantity 2 which is value of 100. What we will do is, when you are demonstrating the program, we will actually change the values from 1000 to 100 or 100 and 1000, and then we will interchange the values and see how the program works. So, let us go through the program line by line, and this is one of the methods by which you also debug your program. See, the writing a shell script is excellent, but one of the things that you should do while writing a shell script is to do a line by line activity. Okay, this is a technical term for this is known as the code walkthrough. Okay, what I do is I actually behave like a computer and then see whether my code works as desired. So, let us do this. Let us start with line number 3. So, the quantity 1 is assigned a value of 1000 and quantity 2 is assigned a value of 100. So, let us remember this. So, the next statement actually echoes saying that we are comparing quantity 1 with quantity 2. Now, so the third statement, the line number 8 says that if quantity 1, and if you look at this minus EQ, which says that equal to. So, this tries to check whether quantity 1 is equal to quantity 2, okay. And if you look at this, look at the space here after the if. Now, this is very important, I am insisting again and again because people tend to forget this and then it gives lot of errors. And if you look at this, if quantity 1 is equal to quantity 2, then says both are equal, if not they say both are not equal. So, in our case, if quantity 1 is 1000 and quantity 2 is 100, then they are not equal. Therefore, we believe that this else part will be printed. So, let us remember this, because when we run this program, we should see whether whatever we had gone through as code walkthrough and whatever is printed in the program, both are the same. Now, coming to line number 15, we are using the minus NE, that is not equal to quantity. So, if you look at this, then it says quantity 1 is not equal to quantity 2, because 1000 is not equal to 100, then this line will be printed, that is both not equal will be printed. And let us move on. So, if you look at this, then we will come to the line number 22. Here this tries to find out whether quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2, and obviously we had given a quantity 1 the value of 1000 and quantity 2 the value of 100, therefore, it will print the first quantity is greater. Moving on to line 29, we are trying to see whether the first quantity is less than the second quantity. The first quantity is 1000, the second quantity is 100, and obviously 1000 is not less than 100, therefore, what will it print? It will print, make a guess. So, since 1000 is not less than 100, it will print second quantity is equal or lesser. Is it true? Let us see. Let us execute the program and see. Please note it down. Now, coming to line number 36, we are trying to check whether quantity 1 is greater than or equal to quantity 2. Similarly, we are trying to check whether 1000 is greater than or equal to 100, which is true. Therefore, it will print first quantity is greater or equal. And finally, we are trying to see whether the first quantity is less than or equal to quantity 2. We obviously know that the first quantity is greater than or equal to, therefore, it will print first quantity is greater. So, let us see, except for this line, we are pretty clear about rest of the lines. Hopefully, let us run this program and then see. So, we will run this program called a numeric relation, and it says both are not equal. I think we have got this correct, we got first quantity is greater correct, okay, and second quantity, this is I think we got it correct too, and I think first we also got this correct. So, we got everything correct here, okay. So, this is one way to identify whether your program is working right or not. Of course, this is only one of the test case. So, what we should do here is we should also look at the next test case, which essentially you just interchange this, you put 100 here and then 1000 here and then run this program. So, it should exactly print the opposite of what it printed last time, hopefully it works. So, obviously, so both are not equal, both are not equal. So, it says second quantity is greater, so it says first quantity is lesser, first quantity is lesser, and so on. And finally, what we can do is we can print both the values to be the same. So, I take 100 100. Now, you will see something. So, what we can do is we can run this. So, this is something. So, here it says both are equal, okay. So, so probably I mean so does it look like a bug, because 100 not equal to 100, okay. If it is true, then the answer will be different. Since it is false, okay, 100 is equal to 100, we are printing both are equal. So, this also prints correctly, okay, and in this way we can use the numeric operators. Now, so let us take a look at this program first. So, hope you are clear with this program. Okay. So, I would suggest that you type these programs. So, it is nice to listen to lectures, but scripting only, you can do scripting only when you type it in your computer and then check the results. Now, moving on, let us, so we saw this, we also saw the 3 cases. The first case where the first quantity is less than second quantity, the second case where the second quantity is less than the first quantity, and so on, and then both quantities being equal. Now, you should understand that when you write a shell script, you should not only write the code, but you should also do a code walkthrough as well as run some unit testing. So, what we did was a sample of a unit test to ensure that our shell scripting is correct. Okay, now let us move on to Boolean operators. So, why do we need Boolean operators? Okay, the 3 Boolean operators that are given are not, and or, and these are represented by the exclamation mark as given here. The exclamation mark is represents not, the A represents and the O represents or. Now, why do we need these 3 Boolean operators? One, the first reason is you can combine the relational operators and take a Boolean decision, either true or false. So, if you look at what we did with the relational operators, we were trying to find out whether one quantity is equal to the other quantity. So, when we compare 2 quantities and ask a question whether a quantity is equal to the other quantity, the obvious answer could be either yes, it is equal, or it is not equal. So, when it is equal, we say that with the condition that equal to condition, then we say that this statement becomes true. So, we can combine such multiple decisions using the relational operator. So, the idea is, so we will see this and we can insert this decision making process into the if statement part. We will see this with an example. So, what we have is a program called boolean.sh, okay, and in this case we are trying to have 6 variables a, b, c, d, e, f. Okay, the variable name should be meaningful, but since this is an example, we have taken this variable's name to be a, b, c, d, e, f. In your programs, we expect meaningful names to be given to these variables. So, let us start with our program. So, I assume a to be a value of 100, b to be 200, and c to be 1000. So, let us take this statement 12. So, we are trying to find out whether a is not equal to b, okay, that is 100 is not equal to 200. Yes, 100 is not equal to 200, therefore, this leads to true, and if it is true, if the condition, the evaluation of the condition becomes true, then the then part is executed, therefore, we will get this printed. Now, the most interesting line now here is line number 21. So, here if you look at this, we are joining 2 relational operators together using the Boolean operator. So, if you look at this quantity, $A is less than D, okay, this is the first condition, relational operation. Now, $B is greater than $E, this is the second relational operation, and both of this are combined with an AND condition. So, what happens is that in this case there are 4 possibilities. So, A can be this first expression, okay, A minus LT $D can be true, and this can be true. If both are true, then this true statement gets executed. If A less than $3 is less than $D is false and B greater than $E is false, then we will execute this statement which says return false. If the first relational operator evaluates to be true and the second operator evaluates to be false, then false will be printed. Similarly, if this evaluates to be false and the second relational operator evaluates to be true, even then false will be printed. So, this exactly follows the Boolean logic of an AND gate. Similarly, the next statement follows the Boolean logic of the OR gate, which tells you that either this quantity, this relational operation A less than D or B greater than D, if any one of them is true or both of them are true, then it will return true, the statement will return true. In any other condition it will return a false. Similarly, in this case we are again using the OR condition, okay, and we can also use the NOT condition as given, that we leave it as an exercise. So, here is an example of, we also used a NOT condition. If you remember, we had also used this during the relational numeric comparison case, equal to and not equal to. Anyway, now let us try to look at this example. Okay, so, is 100 not equal to 200? Yes, 100 is not equal to 200. Therefore, what will print here is A is not equal to B. Then is 100 less than 200 and 200 greater than 150. So, 100 is definitely not less than 100, because 100 and 100 are equal, and 200 is definitely greater than 100. Therefore, this is an AND condition. So, the first condition is false and the second condition is true. Since we are combining this with an AND, the result should be a false. And the third one is 100 less than 100 or 200 greater than 150. So, 100 is not less than 100, 100 is equal to 100, okay, and 200 is definitely greater than 150. Therefore, this should, and we are combining with the OR condition, therefore, it should return a true. And then the last statement, if A is 100 and F is 50, then the first statement is false, and if B is 200 and D is 100, okay, next statement is true, therefore, it will return true. So, let us run this program and see whether we are getting this answer. So, if 100 is not equal to 200, so look at this, 100 less than 100 is false, and therefore, the whole statement returns false. Now, 100 less than 100 is false, but 200 greater than 100 is true, therefore, the whole statement returns true. 100 less than 50 is false and 200 greater than 100 is true, therefore, the statement returns true. So, in this way we can make conditions more and more complex by combining the relational operators and the Boolean operators. One thing that we should remember is, okay, it is all nice to write such complicated programs, but a user should be able to understand the logic that you write. Therefore, the first rule in any programming is that you should avoid very complex conditions. If there are very complex conditions, you need to break down into simpler conditions and then do the coding. So, for example, a condition like this could as well be split, okay, and this is, of course, there are only two conditions, and you can also add OR and 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 so on. There could be a lot of larger Boolean expressions that you can evaluate, but it is always better that you do not have more than two conditions, otherwise it becomes the program becomes very complex for you to read and understand, and if there are any problems with coding too, it is very difficult to debug such kind of problems. Logical errors are always difficult to debug. So, please be very careful when you are using these kind of Boolean operators. Thank you.